Hello everyone. In this keynote, I'll be presenting extending of ACI to AWS Cloud. How do we do it? What are the key advantages? A bit of its architecture, and also we'll be discussing at a very high level the solution and the deployment of it. So let me begin. This is an overview of what it would look like. Nowadays, the hybrid architecture is becoming more and more common in most of the enterprise networks. So you will have presence on prem as well as on cloud. So Cisco ACI is used by many enterprises right now to set up their data centers. So if you're already using a Cisco ACI with a multi-site deployment, then you can easily extend it to deploy a cloud enterprise architecture. One of the major components in this is the MSO. It is responsible for synchronizing the policies and architectures across the sites and registering all the sites in the enterprise domain. You can have multiple cloud and on-premises sites registered to it. It automates the creation of overlay connectivity between all the sites. Now, MSO is also responsible for many of the main features that we have here, like keeping the policies consistent, seamless workload migration, single point of orchestration. Well, let's move on to the architecture. Let's focus on the architecture of ACI. What are the components that makes this ACI architecture possible? First of all, you need to have Cisco ACI 4.1 software release or a newer version. You need to have a second generation spine model EX or FX, at least one. You need to have a Cisco ACI multi-site orchestrator. We have already talked about it. Then we need to have a Cisco Cloud Epic, which I'll be talking about in the next slide. You need to have inter-site connectivity between your on-prem as well as cloud sites. You need to have a network policy mapping between Cisco ACI and on-prem sites. Now let's talk about the Cisco Cloud Epic on AWS. Well, it is just a piece of software that is deployed on AWS, and it is a microservice based software which is deployed on EC2 instance. It uses EBS to provide persistent block storage for ACI Cloud Epic instance on Amazon EC2. It also uses S3 to save its logs. It initially uses cloud formation templates for deployment of ACI on AWS. It uses cloud native tools. It accepts policies from MSO. It performs EP discovery, so the endpoints in the clouds are discovered by this software. You have policy translation. Now, Cisco talks a different language, rather, Epic talks a different language from AWS Cloud, so you need some sort of translation. The translation is done by Cisco Cloud Epic. Let's talk about the available on AWS Marketplace and use bring your own license model for licensing. It is not in the data forwarding path. So what happens is, whether the Epic is alive or it is dead, it will make no difference to your performance, no difference to your data transfer. Now let's talk about the key benefits of deploying ACI on cloud. You can have common governance. We have already talked about it. You can have discovery and visibility. All the endpoints are now visible on your same dashboard, a single pane. You can do the policy translation. You don't need to whether you are familiar with AWS components or not, you are able to deploy it using the ACI language. You can have monitoring and troubleshooting done from the same GUI. You can have a single point of orchestration from MSO, and you can have operational consistency and automation. The most of the parts in the connectivity are being automated using Cisco ACI. We'll talk about that. Universal policy model. Now, AWS uses accounts, virtual private cloud, and security groups, whereas ACI talks in terms of breach domain subnets, endpoint groups, and EPGs and contracts. Let's try to understand this policy model in more detail. So, a tenant in Cisco ACI is referred to as user account. VRF is referred to a virtual private cloud, BD to a VPC subnet, EP/EPG mapping to a tag label, EPG to security group, taboo to network access list, contracts to security group rules, consumed contracts to outbound rule, provided contracts to inbound rules, and endpoint as a network adapter of the EC2 instance. AAA is nothing but IAM in AWS. Pod is a region. Node is an node attachment is availability zone. Overlay 1 VRF is infra VPC. Shared services is VPC peering. Border leaf spine. You will have VPN gateways, direct connect, CSR 1000V, and internet gateway implemented in cloud. And interport connectivity is inter-region VPC peering, direct connect gateway. Now inside the cloud, let us try and understand what kind of implementations we have. It is kind of a hub and spoke topology that we have. So whenever you implement the cloud formation template, it will create an infra VPC in cloud. This is all automated by the cloud formation template that will be provided by Cisco. So once you implement it, it will create an infra VPC in which this Epic software will be deployed. Apart from that, you will have a pair of CSR1V routers, and it will also create, once you start creating VRFs, it will create the VPCs in that particular account, and those VPCs will be connected with the CSR routers using IPsec tunnels to its VGW, or you can also have a CSR router at the VPC end as well. Now inside the cloud, what we see here is the entire cloud site is managed by the same cloud epic. Virtually it forms a cloth architecture. Each region can have its own infra VPC with a pair of Cisco CSR 1000V series routers. All these IPsecs are being automated by the software. You don't have to do anything. When you create a VPC, the IPsec will be formed in a mesh topology with all the CSRVs in the region or in the same site. Now traffic flow. Now traffic flow is like whenever you want to communicate within the VPC, it will not go through CSR router. But when you want to communicate from one VPC to another or from one VPC to back to on-prem, you will go through CSR 1000V router. Now let's talk about the inter-site connectivity. All the inter-site connectivity is being automated by the software again. But yes, you need to have the underlay. Some part of the underlay is not completely automated. So you have to go to AWS console and request for AWS direct connects and VPN connectivity. But once these are formed, rather some parts of it like forming the virtual interface, creating BGP, VLANs, all these things are taken care by the software code. Also configuring of the end device at the customer end is being configured by this code. BGP eVPN is at the control plane. In the overlay network, you will have BGP eVPN in the control plane, VXLAN encapsulation for the data plane. Since you have to carry more than one VRFs across, you have to isolate all the communication between the VRFs. And then you have Cisco ACI Golf feature, which is usually used kind of an L3 out to accommodate more than one VRFs. So all this is being automated and implemented by Cisco ACI cloud software. Now this is the overview of the underlay network. You can have IPsec VPN over internet, or you can have AWS direct connects connecting from on-prem to your cloud network. In the overlay, you see BGP eVPN sessions, VXLAN tunnel data plane, and IPsec VPN tunnels in the underlay. Inter-site communication is very simple. If you are extending a VRF from cloud to AWS, you can just put a contract, like you put a contract between two EPGs on-prem. You can just have a contract between a EPG on-prem and EPG on in the cloud. This will all the conversion that is required in terms of implementing the security groups, everything will be behind the scene and will be translated by the Cisco Epic software. So users, rather the admins, don't have to have any visibility into it. Stretching the EPG from the cloud. So you can stretch the same EPG from the cloud and use it. You will always have a contract. If you have created a contract for two EPGs to talk. It does not matter whether it is on-prem or whether it is in the cloud. The only thing is you cannot have it in the same broadcast domain. You have to have a separate subnet defined for the, although it is in the same EPG, it will be in the separate subnet. So for different AZs, again it will be in a different subnet, because AWS does not allow layer 2 extension from a VPC to another VPC or VPC to your on-prem network, and Cisco has to respect that. Talking about the shared services, we can have shared services the way we had on-prem. We used to leak a contract between one VRF to another VRF EPG, and we can do the same things for the VPCs and the EPGs that are there in the AWS. Let's talk about the internet connectivity. So there are two options. Either you can have an L3 out on cloud itself, or you can make all your resources from cloud come back on-prem and go out of your enterprise internet, because sometimes it so happens that there are certain kinds of security profiles that you need to add to your traffic. So the first option is to have a cloud external EPG in the AWS itself. Herein you will have an cloud external EPG in MSO, and this EPG, when you create, it will create an internal, the internet gateway, and attach every VPC in the AWS site, and appropriate routes will be programmed in the VPC route tables. And if you want to utilize the existing L3 out that is there on-prem, you just have to create a contract to do so. Cloud native and on-premise services. Herein we will talk about the layer 4, layer 7 service graph insertion. So you can either use the AWS native services like application load balancers, or you can use any service that is on-prem, or any service that is within the VPC or outside the VPC in your service graphs, and form a service chain. If you are already familiar with layer 4, layer 7 integration, it is same thing, but you are getting more options like integrating cloud native services as well. Let us talk about the solution architecture. We have already seen how we have implemented the infra VPC. Now to connect to all other VPCs, you need to have AWS transit gateway. So your infra VPC will be connected to a transit gateway, and transit gateway in turn will be connected to VPC 1, 2 and 3. And over this, CSR 1000V will form its IPsec tunnels across all the VPCs for forming the close architecture. The most of the connection parts in here is automated, so the complications of these connections are taken away from the admins. You just have to implement your network, and all these interconnectivities between your sites and between your CSR 1000V routers will be automated. Let us take a look at this. If you see the first one, wherein we have implemented the direct connect gateway, in this direct connect gateway, virtual interface is being automated. Implementation of the public virtual interface, BGP session, VLANs, customer side of configuration, it's all being automated. If you have an inter-transit gateway, if you have implementation of it into a different regions in which you have more than one AWS transit gateways, in that case you need to form a tunnel between CSR 1000V, and all this connectivity again is automated by Cisco ACI. Now if we have implementations into different regions, all these connectivities are being automated. With each Cisco Cloud ACI implementation, you can deploy up to 4 regions. 2 is the default, and you can increase it up to 4 by raising service case with AWS. You can either have single AWS transit gateway, you can have multiple AWS transit gateways, or you can have AWS transit gateways in multiple regions as well. Let's talk about the deployment at very high level. So you need to have an AWS AMI image, which you can get from the AWS marketplace. You will have to have licenses brought from Cisco. All steps are performed by using Cisco provided AWS CloudFormation templates. Now CloudFormation will be in JSON or YAML format. Once you implement it, you will see Cisco Cloud on EC2 instance. You can either take the IP address of it from the Cloud Formation template or from the EC2 instance Elastic IP address. Once you log into Cisco Epic, you will have the first time setup wizard. In the first time setup wizard, you will be asked to register to MSO. Once you have registered to MSO, you can start implementing networks using Cisco Cloud Epic on AWS. I've read the summary of this presentation. The new Cisco ACI capabilities are delivered using Cisco ACI 4.1 or the newer release. It translates the Cisco policies into AWS cloud policies using cloud native tools. It automates and simplifies your connectivities. You have now common policies across the frameworks and the workload segmentation policies in AWS as well as on-prem. End-to-end network visibility will be there, which will help you in terms of operations and management of your enterprise network. Thank you for listening to my keynote. See you soon.